I don't think there is a good argument for atheism.
Yeah.
What do you think? We're made in opposition to the spirit of the natural order? Is that your theory? Or we're random? Really? Random. That's your theory, is it? That's not a very smart theory.
Jordan Peterson is about to rip into atheism for 11 minutes straight. Check this out.
What do you think the best argument for atheism is?
I don't think there is a good argument for atheism. I think it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding about the nature of the world. So it's just, it's what would you say? It's an illegal chess move.
Okay. Well,
it's based on the wrong...
This might just show that I don't understand you, but we'll get to it if I don't.
The best argument for atheism.
What's the best of the worst arguments?
Materialistic determinism is the best argument for atheism.
But isn't that a philosophical sort of assumption or axiom?
That's a problem.
Yeah. Like for me, I think it would be if this, and let's just choose the Christian God, if he exists and wants me to know him and save me, wouldn't he make it easier? Why does he make it so difficult? Why does he seem to hide? And
because you have something to do. Okay. You have something important to do. It's no game. The price of life is death. It's not a game, right? Wow. There's evil too. You have something to do. It's not easy. In fact, it'll take everything you have. Everything. Right? That's why you're to consecrate everything to God. You're not an infant. And you're not being treated by God like an infant. You're being treated by God like someone who's...
responsible moral agent. He doesn't just want comfortable little pets in his habitat,
someone to be made in the image of God is to be someone who wrestles with potential. To genuinely
wrestle with potential.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, that's the tohu vabohu that exists at the beginning of time. Right? The potential, the watery chaos.
Okay.
The Spirit of God sits above the chaos, the primordial chaos, and extracts order out of that. That's what you do as a conscious agent. And you do that. You do that in a way that is aimed towards hell or aimed towards heaven. Really.
But you wouldn't think people who claim to be atheists are necessarily irrational? Because they're
perfectly rational
I'm
if
sympathetic.
You accept the initial axiom, but I don't accept the initial axiom.
What's the original?
Like I said, it's something like a materialist determinism.
Yeah.
No. First of all, whatever matter is, and we certainly don't understand it, it doesn't look at all like something deterministic at the highest level of resolution. Mm-hmm. There's something very weird going on down there at the quantum level, and what the philosophical implications of that are, God only knows. But there's no easy determinism in the physical realm. So anybody who claims that is like stuck in the world of Newton. They're like in 1830. We're way past that.
What if the person just says, all right, I'm open to believing in God or not believing in God, and I've seen no good evidence or arguments for God's existence?
It's like I said, it's an illegal game move. It has nothing to do with... See, the problem with that argument is that it's an atheist argument right from the beginning. Well, what's the evidence? It's like belief in God is not propositional acceptance of a set of descriptive facts. That's not what it is. It's commitment, right? So what does it mean to follow in the footsteps of Christ? To believe. It means to hoist your goddamn cross and walk up the hill. It doesn't mean that you say, what does Christ say? Not all those who say, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven. Yeah. Well, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What? It's not, the religious doctrine is not a scientific theory. It's not something you believe like you believe a description of a set of facts. Okay. It's a mode of being. It's a mode of apprehension. It's a mode of perception. It's a mode of action.
I'm pushing back to see if I can understand what you're getting at. Like, in order for me to marry my wife, I need to know she exists, and I need to know she's interested in me, and I need to be able to pursue her, right?
To marry your wife, you need to take a leap of faith.
But I need to know she exists first in order to...
Oh, true.
So that's what I'm saying with God's existence. If God does exist, surely I need some kind of reason to think this isn't just a story I'm telling myself.
Conscience. Where does that pesky little thing come from?
I think there's three options.
Okay.
One might be, we evolved this way.
That's fine. I'm perfectly happy with that
But here's my problem with that. Yeah, because if you say, okay, if we were raping and pillaging, we would have never gotten this far as a species. Therefore, these things have become taboo or something like that, which is a far cry from saying they're somehow objectively wrong or mind independently
I don't know. It's not
evil.
so far. It's not so far. No, I think the evolutionary biology and the religious will dovetail perfectly.
Well, okay, but then here's the thing: if
God is the deepest instinct.
I now know that it's evolution that's wired me thus, I can choose to disobey it. It's lower than me. I could be Raskolnikov, presumably. I can go against it.
Of course,
and another source would be individuals. Like you could tell me I'm a bad person to do X, Y, or Z, or praise me if I do other things, and I might feel good or feel bad. Or collectively as society, you can say this.
Yeah.
But just as you have no right, it seems to me, to determine how I ought to live, collectively, why would you have any more authority?
That's Raskolnikov's argument too.
So it seems
or the Marquis de Sade.
So this objective morality could come from beneath us in evolution, from outside of us on our level.
Yeah.
Maybe it comes from above us, and then it's like, okay, if it comes from above us, is it in some sort of Platonic form? And if it is a Platonic form, is there a commandment being issued? And why do I need to be obedient to a Platonic form?
So you don't end up in hell.
Right. So I could, yeah.
No, but seriously, that's why.
I see.
It's like,
this is sort of like
violate the moral order and watch what happens. Go right ahead.
I'm with you. This is the sort of Aristotelian Nicomachean ethics idea, right? Where like eudaimonia is just flourishing. And so it's like, there is a way to act.
You put yourself in alignment with the cosmic order.
Yeah, but I could choose not. Yeah, I could choose not to do that.
Sure,
which you can choose to go to hell. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And you might think, well, it'll be a fine ride on the way, and maybe it will. But that's where you're headed. So no, everything has to be put in proper order. That's why Christ says that He calls upon His followers to be perfect. Why? Because everything has to be put in the proper order. Why? Because otherwise it falls into disorder. It's like, is that good? Well, if you want disorder. But what are you going to do? You're going to heap burning coals of fire on your own head? Well, you can. That's hell. Every devil shoveling the burning coal on his own head. Right.
I'm still trying to get at this. All right, so what if I just say, all right, I can't believe in some invisible sugar daddy up in the... this is not what I think. Invisible sugar daddy up in the clouds who's going to give me a theme park if I just quit masturbating, all right? I can't believe that anymore. It just seems like it's bullshit, and it's a fairy tale that people tell themselves.
Well, it is and it isn't. It's a concretized representation, but it's not without its wisdom. Like, there isn't anything more complex in the cosmos than a human psyche. And to think of the psyche, let's say the Father, as a representation of the highest spirit, it's not prima facie absurd. It's not a bad metaphor. So I'll give you an example of that. So imagine all the admirable men you've ever known.
Doing it now.
Okay. Well, they have a unity, right? It's the unity of whatever makes them admirable.
Yeah.
Right. So they all reflect the same spirit. Seriously. They're all approximations to the same spirit. Well, what's that spirit? Well, it's the God of Abraham. That's what it is. This is a definition.
Yeah, all right.
So God is the benevolence that shines through the good Father. It's a definition. Just like God is the call to adventure. Or just like God is conscience. And you think, well, that's not God. It's like, well, have it your way. Like, you're playing games. You're playing games.
But surely it's not playing a game to just be curious and say, okay, maybe there is no such being as God. Maybe Jesus wasn't the second person of the Blessed Trinity. Maybe heaven is a myth. And yet these stories help me flourish for some unknown reason. And so I'm best to go along with it. But it's hard to really get on board with something.
Well, you can't commit to that. No. Yeah. This is an all-in enterprise.
Okay.
It's an all-in enterprise. So in the story of Cain and Abel, for example, Abel offers his best. And God accepts it. And Cain doesn't. Cain offers what's second best. And God rejects it. And that's life. And everyone knows that. It's like life is a fatal game. And it's going to require everything you have. And everyone knows that. It's like you can offer your second best and be accepted? No. First of all, you won't even accept yourself under those circumstances because you'll take no pride in your... No, not pride, wrong word. You'll take no solace in your accomplishments if they're of second-rate quality.
Yeah.
Right? You can't
if
fool
you could
yourself.
Have done better, yeah.
That's for sure. And the times when you're somewhat satisfied with your miserable existence, well, that's when you know you've put something on the line. Right? And that's what you're called to do by your wife and by your children and by your community, by your conscience. Well, that's all a reflection of something real. And you might say, well, not transcendently real. It's like, well, why not? Okay. Why not transcendently real?
Yeah.
What do you think? We're made in opposition to the spirit of the natural order? Is that your theory? Or we're random? Really? Random. That's your theory, is it? That's not a very smart theory.
Okay.
There's there's nothing random. There's some random mutation, and even that's not true. You know, there's a hierarchy of mutational repair.
No.
Yeah, well, this has been discovered quite recently. Mutation is random. No, turns out that's not true, because mutations that occur to genes that are crucial for survival are repaired with 100% accuracy. Whoa. There's some room for experimentation out in the margins, but not at the center, just like in life itself. It's like, and whatever shaped us isn't random. The mutation process, part of it is random. And I suppose we capitalize on chance, but as an explanation for the nature of being itself, it's like no one knows how life arose. No one knows anything about consciousness. Yeah. Not the least. It's true. A byproduct of neural activity. It's why isn't your solar plexus conscious then?
Yeah.
Right? You got neurons galore. There's more neurons in your autonomic nervous system than there are in your central nervous system. It's not conscious. It's not neural activity per se. And most neural activity in your cerebral cortex isn't conscious. What the hell is consciousness? It's the spirit of God that what would you say, broods upon the
face of the waters.
That's right. That's what consciousness is.
Yeah.
That's as good a definition as any. In fact, it's the best definition I've ever seen.
God gives each and every one of us a conscience, and it's our job to determine how we are going to respond to that calling. Internally, we know what is right and wrong. And if we're confused, then we need to turn to the ultimate truth that explains what morality is, how to live right, how to clean your conscience, how to put your best foot forward in this life that we all know nobody gets out alive. You and I cannot afford to be intellectually dishonest with ourselves. If you know a greater good exists, then we need to do our best to achieve it, to live it out and represent it as truth. If human psyche is the highest level that we can achieve, then we need to do everything humanly possible to honor that part of our existence. And if you choose to fall off the wagon and offer a lesser offering like Cain did, then you would have to ask yourself, are you ready to even achieve this level of perfection that God wants from you? If the answer is yes, then you're going to need help. You're going to need Jesus Christ to help and guide you. You're going to need the Holy Spirit to show you the ropes, to craft you into the perfect person that you can be here on this earth. In Hebrew, the word is telem. In Greek, the word is teleos, and it means perfection, but it's not the perfection that we know by English definition. The biblical definition of perfection is actually obedience to God. So the choice is yours. Why you still have a conscience? Are you going to submit to God and live in this world of perfection? Or are you going to choose the lesser offering and damn yourself to an existence that's lesser than what God wanted for you? But at the end of the day, the choice is always yours. I'll see you in the next video.